Hey there hunters, Lord here, back with another Monster Hunter Wilds set video. In this series we are covering endgame sets for all 14 weapon types. We've covered a bunch already, so if Insect Glaive is not your jam, definitely check out the channel. And be sure to subscribe so that way you don't miss it when I upload your main weapon. So since these sets are going to be endgame, I do want to give a slight spoiler warning that after my intro plays, all of the armor, weapons, decorations, and footage will be from Hunter rank 40 and beyond, as this is where the true endgame grind really begins. So if you're not yet to that point in the game, or if you're just looking to avoid spoilers till you've had a chance to see it all for yourself, I'd recommend saving this video to watch later when you are ready to build endgame sets. With all that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into the video. Alright, so for our sets today, I've prepared 3 different Insect Glaive sets for you guys, including a raw DPS centered set focused around high crit and high damage. We then have a set that really plays well into both the elemental and status values of the Insect Glaive, as well as the aerial capabilities with Master Mounter set bonus. And the final set is a set focused around Flair for creating a ton of wounds to both get you health back and constantly keep you triple buffed with your Kinsect. So starting off with the raw DPS build, I personally like the Ardian weapons a whole bunch. They are just super skill efficient as far as slots go. However, if you do not want to mess around with an Ardian weapon, whether you don't like the design or you just like craftables better, the Rathian Queen Regalia Insect Glaive is extremely strong as well. You just have slightly less slot efficiency than the Ardian weapons. As far as the armor goes, if you've been watching the channel at all, you will know that this 5-piece setup is pretty much as good as it gets for raw DPS without going into speedrunning tactics like heroics. Again, this will be the head and arms of the Guardian Ebony beta set, the Arc Vulcan chest and waist beta, the new Udra legs beta, and the Chain Charm 2. As far as weapon decorations go, I think Razor Sharp is kind of a must-have in order to stay in white sharpness, so I have a Razor Sharp / Handicraft Jewel in my Ardian weapon. I then have a Flight Handicraft Jewel, again for some extra sharpness, but the Airborne skill gives us plus 10% damage to all aerial attacks, which of course Insect Glaive can use quite nicely. And then in the last slot, I went for a Critical Jewel 3. With this set, we have between 80 and 100% crit, so jumping our critical damage from 25% extra to 34% extra is a hefty damage increase, and overall I like it a lot here. If you're going to use the Rathian weapon, the Razor Sharp Handicraft Jewel stays, but then I went for a Flight Jewel and a Handicraft Jewel. As far as our armor decorations go, you're going to want to slot in 3 Mighty Jewels into our level 2 slots. Again, for maximum DPS, we're going to be using a lot more of our ground-based attacks. And since we're not going to be bouncing around nearly as much, this is a great way to get a bunch of extra crit while staying on the ground. However, if you do want to use this set and go for a bit more of an aerial playstyle where you're using stamina, you can definitely drop these Mighty Jewels and slot in something else that you might like. For the level 3 slots, you will need 2 Tenderizer Jewels. If you don't have 2 Tenderizer Jewels, but you do have 2 Chain Jewels, you can swap the charm to the Exploiter Charm 2 and drop in 2 Chain Jewels. Then of course, as per usual, the level 1 decorations are always up to your personal preference. I really like Divine Blessing, and of course Shockproof is a must-have for multiplayer. All in all, this gives us weapon skills of Critical Boost 3, again 34% extra damage when we are hitting a critical hit compared to a non-critical hit. Razor Sharp level 3 gives us 50% sharpness reduction. Handicraft 2 gives me 20 extra units of white sharpness, and the Airborne skill, of course, is a 10% damage increase when using aerial attacks. For our armor skills, we have Weakness Exploit at level 5. This gives us 30% affinity when attacking weak spots, an additional 20% when attacking wounds, so right around 50% for most of our hunts. Then we have Burst level 5. This is a bonus 21 raw attack when coupled with 2 pieces of Ebony Adogaron armor. Again, we're not going to get any bump in damage out of the element because we're using a status weapon. However, 21 extra raw is nothing to scoff at and is over a 10% increase on my Ardian weapon. And it's about a 9.5% damage increase on something like the Rathian weapon that has about 215 attack. Again, Max Might 3, when our stamina is full, we get 30% extra affinity, and then the rest of the skills are either my choices in decorations or it comes free on the armor. For our set bonuses, wearing 2 pieces of Ebony Adogran armor allows us to get Burst Boost 1. This makes Burst last a little bit longer, and so it doesn't wear off as fast if we stop attacking the monster. We also get an additional 3 raw attack on top of the 18 we already get from Burst level 5. We then have 2 pieces of Arc Vulcan armor for Hasten Recovery 1. So after 5 attacks with your weapon, you will get a small amount of health back. Again, it's not super helpful or something we're going to build a whole set around. It's just nice to have a little bit of extra health recovery in the background. All in all, this is one of my favorite sets. It hits like an absolute truck. However, if you do like Aerial Insect Glaive, then the next set is going to be for you. This next set is centered a lot more around the aerial playstyle of Insect Glaive. Again, I'm going to be using 2 different Ardian weapons here, one for element and one for status. For the armor, we're going to be rocking 4 pieces of Gore Magala, including the Alpha head, chest, and waist, and the Beta legs, then the Guardian Ebony Braces Beta, and the Chain Charm 2. For decoration, since we're not going for as much crit here, I dropped the Crit Boost Jewel in favor of a Blast Jewel 3 to help get us some extra status, since this does couple up nicely with Coalescence to get us a bunch of extra blast. We do actually hit the status cap here, which is very cool. However, if you're going for an Elemental Insect Glaive, you can use something like you see here in my second Glaive, which is an Element Attack 3/Enhancer Jewel. Really, you don't need Enhancer here. Power Prolonger is not as useful as it was in previous games, since we're going to be using that Rising Slash to expend all of our extracts as our highest damage move, and then using Focus Strikes on wounds to get that triple buff back very quickly. And then, of course, Razor Sharp and Flight are my must-haves. I really like both of those skills a lot, and the Flight Jewel is especially helpful in this set since it's focused significantly more around Aerial Insect Glaive. As far as the armor decorations go, you're going to need 2 Phoenix Jewels and 2 Chain Jewels. All the other ones you see here, including the Throttle, Protection, and Shockproof Jewels, are completely up to your personal choice. As far as skills go, the weapon skills remain mostly the same, just Blast Attack 3 instead of Crit Boost 3. Now, Burst Level 5, again, we get a nice 18 raw attack here, but if you use an elemental weapon, you actually also gain 140 element from Burst Level 5, which is super nice, which is why, again, I opted to show you guys this with an elemental glaive. Burst is great for everything, but is especially nice for element-based weapons. We then have Evade Window 4, which comes with the armor and is just generally a nice skill to have. Coalescence Level 3 gives us extra status or element after clearing the Frenzy, which we will be doing a lot. This couples with Antivirus, which gives us another 15% affinity after clearing the Frenzy, which again we'll be doing with the set bonus, which I'll get to in a little bit. Then of course the rest of the skills are either on the armor or my choice in decorations. So with 4 pieces of Gore Magala armor, we get Black Eclipse 2. This means anytime we are in combat with a large monster, we are automatically inflicted with the Frenzy. So while we are inflicted with the Frenzy, because we have the 4-piece set bonus, we get plus 10 raw attack, and once we clear the Frenzy, we get 10% affinity. The plus 10 attack turns into plus 15, and it also activates Coalescence and Antivirus. So effectively, once we clear the Frenzy, we are getting 15 bonus attack. Then Coalescence will give us a bunch of bonus status or element, and then Antivirus coupled with just clearing the Frenzy makes it a flat 25% extra crit. This in and of itself is extremely nice to have, but by using 3 pieces of the Gore Alpha armor, we also get Master Mounter, which means mounts are a lot easier to get. I was playing with Fightin' Cowboy, and I think in one hunt he got 7 mounts in a single hunt. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, so if you like the Aerial Insect Glaive style of play, then this is definitely the set for you. However, if you're looking for a bit more comfort, then this final set will be the one for you. Again, the weapon is an Ardian weapon just because I like the slot efficiency. However, you can throw in any Insect Glaive that you like, of course. As far as the armor, we'll be rocking the head, chest, arms, and waist of the Guardian Arkveld Beta set, the Udra Legs Beta, and the Chain Charm 2. As far as weapon decorations, you can feel free to use whatever you like. Again, I threw the Blast Jewel in here because we're not going for super high crits, so crit boost will not be super helpful. But for the armor decorations, the only things you need in this set are the 2 Chain Jewels you see in the head and chest, the Flare Jewel in the legs, and 3 Medicine Jewels. Now, you don't need the 3 Medicine Jewels, but they play in super nicely with this set's set bonus, so I would highly recommend tossing them in here. So with the weapon skills not changing too much, let's go ahead and talk about the armor skills. Again, we have Burst. Again, it's just nuts. I don't need to explain it to you guys again. We then have Flare at level 5. This skill makes wounds a lot easier to get, and for Insect Glaive, this is a godsend. Since you can use your focus strikes to get your triple buff back immediately, having Flare level 5 to get those extra wounds will allow you to have your triple buff up constantly, so that way you can spam your rising slash combos. This also works very nicely with recovery up and our set bonus, which I will touch on in a little bit. And of course, as per usual, the rest of the skills either come with the armor or are my choice in decorations. So with 4 pieces of the Guardian Arkveld armor, we get Decimator 2, and this gives us a hefty chunk of health back whenever we destroy a wound. You can do this with your focus strike or just by attacking it until the wound pops. But with Insect Glaive, we do want to hit those wounds as often as possible to get our triple buff back from our Kinsect. So you might as well get a bunch of extra health recovery while you're doing so. Without those 3 medicine jewels I spoke on earlier, you get between 20 and 30% of your health back when popping a wound, but with those 3 medicine jewels, it does stack on top of Decimator 2 and makes it between 40 and 45% of your health back by breaking a single wound, which is just insane. I mean, it basically negates the entire need for potions or mega potions. As with Flare 5, you're going to be creating a bunch of wounds. With Insect Glaive, you're going to want to pop those wounds for your triple buff. So you're pretty much just going to have nearly infinite lifesteal on top of nearly infinite triple buff. This set is a ton of fun. I really can't recommend it enough. And since we're not opting into anything crazy like Affinity or Aerial, you can use it with the grounded style of Insect Glaive or the aerial style of Insect Glaive and still have a really good time. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you did like those 3 sets and you're going to try them out, be sure to drop a like on the video to support it completely for free. If you're new to my channel, new to Monster Hunter, or if you just liked what you saw today and you're looking for more set videos like this, or if you want guides, tutorials, and a ton of other information that you probably didn't even know that you could know about Monster Hunter Wilds, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's totally free, supports my channel, and you can always change your mind later if you're finding the content just isn't for you. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Keep an eye out on the channel for even more set videos for various weapon types coming out very soon. I wish you all a good day and happy hunting.